Hello, beautiful being. Welcome to In Her Dreams and welcome to your reading. I am so grateful that you're taking time to tune in to see what messages are flowing in from Spirit for you. Ashe. Thank you, Divine. Your energy is so beautiful. I was just tapping in, meditating as I was shuffling and getting ready for the reading. Your energy is beautiful. And I can tell that you have transformed. You've been through something very difficult, but what you've done with the energy, it's amazing. Very powerful transformation. I wanted to start with the dice. So let's begin with the dice. Thank you, Spirit. What messages do you have for this beautiful being? Okay. Somebody thought they were playing games with you. We've got a soccer ball here. But you won. This is funny because I think it was yesterday I was in meditation and I saw somebody stepping to a divine one with like a fencing sword, and they wanted to duel so badly, and the divine one was standing there like, oh, can I just live? Can you just let me be? I was not bothering you. And so since they were standing there with their sword, like forcing you to duel with them, you put on your, whatever that gear is that people who fence put on, the mask, and you put all your gear on and you started protecting yourself, you know? But I'm getting that in these games that somebody thought that they were playing with you, you learned so much about yourself, so much about your strength, so much about your skills. You've developed so many more skills than you ever thought you'd have to, but that's going to remain with you for the rest of your life. Also, I'm getting like goalie energy, where you're protecting your, perhaps your home, your business, your mind, your energy. Okay? All right, this cactus it was reversed. So there's something that seemed dried up, like you thought it wasn't going to be useful anymore. This is something that you once nurtured, but it's coming back to life. This is something that brings you abundance, and it's time to tap into the energy of this resource again. For some of you, it could be a hobby that you once just put to the side and you thought, I just don't have time for that right now. For some of you, it's a business idea that you want to nurture more. Divine says now is the time to nurture it, to bring it back to life, because you're going to watch it grow. This is a person who's like, look at that. It looks to, you know what it reminds me of? Like those gymnast mats. That's what it looks like to me, that people do flips on. There's something about you thinking that you are going to not do something again, but you're making it work. You're getting back into it. It's like he could take a nap on this mat. Or he could stretch and do flips and do exercises and be active. It's like you're going to be active with something that you thought that you were just going to leave alone. Something is coming back to life in your life. You're about to realize just how powerful you are, because you're about to accomplish something that you never thought you would. You see them climbing that mountain? You're making it to the top. The top is where you're headed. Yeah. You're about to reach the summit of something that you thought you never would. It's an accomplishment that you thought you'd never make. But you're getting there. There could have been a delay because of some foolishness. But Divine says that you're ready to do more things now because of the strength that you have. So nothing that's happened has been in vain, because you've chosen to allow everything to help you grow. And you're being rewarded for that, because it has not been easy. But your reward is here. And when you look in the mirror, know that that is your reward as well. Your life, your beauty, both inner and outer beauty, your skills, your gifts, your talents, and your acknowledgement of all of that is your reward. Because a lot of people have a lot of skills and gifts and talents, but they never recognize that within themselves. And so they just let those things go to waste. But there's something really beautiful here, that like things that you thought would never come to pass for you, you're taking advantage of these opportunities. You're not going to let them go to the wayside. Thank you, Spirit. What are the crows revealing to us? What does this beautiful being need to know? Gifts. Yeah, see? You're using your gifts. And I feel like that's the reason for the dark night you've been through, the difficulties that you've been through, is because through all of that, you had to tune into certain aspects of yourself that were just dormant for a while. Because I'm getting like wash, rinse, repeat. You were in this cycle where you were just sort of doing the same thing over and over and over again. And it was time for you to discover deeper parts of yourself, different parts of yourself. I'm hearing shadow integration, where you are accepting, acknowledging, accepting, celebrating, honoring all aspects of yourself. Parts of you that you used to hide, you're allowing to come out and play. You're revealing parts of yourself to people, not in a showy way, but just in a way where you're proud of who you are. And Divine wanted that for you. Your ancestors and spirit allies were like, what can we do to get them to see that they're all beautiful? All of them. Like you, every single part of you. Your emotions, your spirit, your soul, your body, your mind, all of you is beautiful. And so in order to discover all of those aspects of yourself, you went through some difficult things. But now you know who you are in such a deep and beautiful way, and you'll never let go of that. You'll always honor yourself. And on a more like practical level, you're using your gifts. There's something that you're doing, you're creating, you're sharing that perhaps you were afraid to before, or you were... I'm hearing that song, I think it's called I'm Not Afraid. Is it Lil Wayne? And my favorite part is where the guy's singing. He says, I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not running. I'm not afraid of the fall. And I'm not scared. Not at all. Something like that. But I love how he says he's not afraid of the dark. He's not afraid of the fall. Because once you've fallen, once you've been down, you realize that there's nothing to be afraid of. What are you going to be afraid of? You know, getting hurt? Oops, been there, you know. And so you realize that there's nothing to fear. And you don't fear your own darkness anymore. There's nothing about you that's ugly or meant to be hidden. Yeah, you're not afraid. You're not afraid. This one wants to come out. Yeah. Influence, illusion, and protection. Those games that came through that someone was playing, there's someone who wanted to have a very negative influence on you, but they knew that you were strong and that they couldn't come in and gain access to your territory by playing the same old games that they played with everybody else. So they threw illusions your way. They cast illusions, whether through words, through energy work, manipulation. But there's somebody who, with these illusions, they wanted you to see yourself in a very negative way. They didn't want you to see your gifts. They didn't want you to see your power, your strength. But you're divinely protected from all of that. And not only do you have the protection of the divine and of your spirits, but there are beings on this earth that have, I'm hearing, gotten in place and lined up to protect you. These are animal spirits. These are people that perhaps you didn't even know very well, but they intervened into certain situations to help you get over obstacles. And this was to protect your dreams, to protect your well-being, to protect your mind. Because that's really what this person who was playing games, that's what they wanted to attack, was your mind. The way that you saw yourself. The way that you saw your opportunities, the way that you saw your life. They wanted you to shrink yourself. They wanted you to turn away from every good thing. They wanted you to turn away from yourself. They wanted you to betray yourself. They also wanted you to not care about your health. Now, I'm not judging, okay? If you smoke or whatever, I'm not judging, okay? But what's coming through is that this person wanted to drive you to a state where you were so low, so disappointed, so unhappy that you had to depend on addictions or behaviors that were unhealthy for you over a sustained period of time, okay? Divine, can we get some clarification? You're coming through as a poet. Oh, and there was a destroyer who wanted to see to it that no one heard your voice, that no one read anything that you ever wrote or would hope to write, that no one would ever see or hear anything that you would create. This destroyer wanted to put an end to all the things that you would create. But see, okay, you're a healer and you're an alchemist. And so their tricks were never going to last because you constantly transform. You transform the energy inside you. Whenever you noticed that you were absorbing negative energy and that it wasn't working for you, maybe it was causing depression for you, maybe it was distracting you from your creative efforts, maybe it was causing strife within a relationship, you said, this isn't working for me. We're in minute 17. Hope and healing is the frequency of the star card, card 17. And as you are a healer, you have realized how to take that negativity and turn it into something else. I'm getting that you may have felt so much anger, and that's a good thing. Let's not shame anger, okay? Anger can be a portal to transformation. Perhaps someone took advantage of your kindness. Anger wakes us up from that. It wakes us up to the reality that, wait a minute, they don't see your kindness as a gift. They see your kindness as their stomping ground to raise hell. And when you realize that your personal boundaries have been abused, disrespected, overlooked, you realize that there's something within yourself that you need to convey to this person in order to set that boundary and make it very clear. And whether they like it or not, they will not infringe on your rights as a sovereign being. And so this sovereignty that you took hold of and said, this is mine, it's changing your life. It's changing your life. It's changed your vibe, your frequency. Yeah, you're a teacher. So whatever art, or I'm really getting art and poetry. I'm getting words that you speak, okay? For some of you, music. But whatever it is that you share with the world, you're teaching a lot of people something that's very important. And this is a lesson that you're teaching that you had to go through. You had to go through it. And that's the beautiful thing about, one of the many beautiful things about you as a healer, is that you don't just read books and then regurgitate what you read. You don't just watch videos and then regurgitate what you heard, you know? You live this shit. You live it. You go through it. And it's because you've gone through it that you're not afraid. Like that song. You're not afraid. And if you have moments of fear, just remind yourself of what you've been through. And that you went through it. You didn't stay in it, because a lot of people do. Bless their souls. A lot of people stay in the nonsense that they're in. And that's why you're a teacher. That's why you're an alchemist, is because you have chosen to do something different. You've chosen not to accept what you were given. You said, this isn't good enough for me. I deserve better. 21:21 on the timer. I deserve better. And I want better for myself. And then you looked around and you said, there's not a whole lot of people here holding my hand through this. You may have done this all alone. But then you discovered that you weren't really all alone. You have divine energy pulsing through you at all times. You have your spirit allies, your ancestors that you're constantly, always connected with. And they look out for you. And you have seemingly random beings that just kind of pop up sometimes. When you need some help, there's somebody there to either help you or show you what you need to do. And that's a part of your protection. And it's because of your protection that you're so well equipped as a teacher. I'm getting that this is spiritual teaching, you know? You're on a beautiful plane. You've seen things that you can only describe through your art or through the words that you channel, if you channel. Yeah. That's one reason you've been so criticized, is because your path is so unique. There are a lot of people who don't understand it. And you know what a lot of people do when they don't understand something? They disrespect it, right? Because it's not what they know. 23:23 on the timer. They want everybody to be like them. And that's the crazy thing, is that they want everybody to be like them, so they think. But that's why some people have a problem with you, is because you mirror their true self right back at them. And they don't like that. They want people to lie to them and say, oh, you're so wonderful. You're so perfect. You're so amazing. And you show them the truth. I'm hearing you don't hold back. Good for you. Good for you. And when they see that image, the image of who they truly are, reflected back at them, they don't like it. 24:24. They don't like it. That's 6 and 6. 2 and 4, 6 and 6. They see their lower self reflected back at them. They see all that darkness. But you're not afraid of it. Remember, I'm not afraid of the dark. You know, you're not afraid of the dark. You're protected. Okay, come through, Spirit. You have this Christ consciousness energy. You're chosen and you're divine. And a lot of people don't like that you're chosen, you know? I'm getting that you don't go around calling yourself chosen, but you know who you are. You know who you are. Thank you, Spirit. What does this beautiful being need to know? What's coming through for them? You know, I'm seeing this card in a way I've never seen it. I'm seeing it as the abyss. I'm seeing it as the darkness that perhaps you were once afraid of. But you know what you did when you were in that darkness? You got anchored. You got anchored. And you said, well, if I'm in the darkness, let me learn all about it. Let me look at my shadows. Let me look at who I really am. Let me look at the me that perhaps I've run from. The parts of me that I didn't want to see. And you started to understand yourself. And instead of seeing it as being weighed down, you got grounded. But now you're moving to a different space where you're on the ship. You've come up after getting that lesson in the abyss. And now you're in this vessel where you're able to move forward. And you're going places where you never thought that you'd go before. I'm getting that that's the message from the dice, is that venture or that goal that you had before that you thought maybe was impossible, you've come back to it more prepared because you went into the abyss to learn about aspects of yourself that were necessary for you to truly honor in order for you to continue on this journey. So it was just a little pause. It was just a little, we could say maybe a detour. You had to go down within, go real deep, and experience a level of darkness that perhaps you never thought you'd have to go through. But because you're an alchemist, nothing was in vain about your experience. Nothing. I'm thinking about, like, this is a cultural thing, but in my family, you know, hey, I'm proud of it. We love watermelon. My mom, her grandparents used to grow them when she was a little girl. And whenever I would eat my watermelon, she was like, I better not see no red on there, okay? It was also a thing of, you know, being grateful for the harvest, you know, the food. But it's like you used every bit of that experience to nourish your soul. You learned from every single bit. You didn't let anything go to waste. Every single aspect of the difficulty that you've been through, you allowed it to make you stronger. The harsh realities that you awakened to, the truths that you didn't really want to see, but you knew it was time to see them. You made every single part of that experience worthwhile. You didn't waste a thing. And so your soul got nurtured. You got all the nutrients that you needed from that experience, you know? Ashe. Now I want some watermelon. All right. We've got the Lily and the Ankh here. Something has transformed completely in your life. And it's something that's mature, something that took time. Tonight's the night of the new moon in Capricorn. So I'm getting that this is something that has taken time, discipline, and effort to grow. This is not something that just popped up real quick, you know? and it's transformed. Your healing energy has breathed new life into something so vital to your path. This could be a venture, a creative endeavor, a relationship, but it's something that has developed over time. And this could be that thing that you felt was on hold. Yeah. Just know that the transformation that you've gone through, that you've chosen to go through, it's had this impact on other things in your life where, because you have transformed, there's so much more abundance in your world. And so now there's something that you're going to be able to enjoy the fruit of your labor, benefit from the fruit of your labor, because you've done work. And so now you get to enjoy something very, very special. So people are talking about your star energy. There's a dream that you have, and some people might be gossiping about it. Let them talk. Let them talk. If they want to talk, let them talk. The thing about it is, well, let's get the energy of this talk. What's the energy of this talk, Spirit? People want to know if you're still... Oh, you know what they want to know? If they can influence you. So as soon as I saw this obedience card, well, this is the obedience card, because she's got the dog on a leash. So somebody expected to be able to pull some nonsense over on you. That's what they thought, right? Because they wanted to influence you, remember? They wanted to talk you out of your dreams. They wanted to cast illusions so that you wouldn't believe in yourself, right? Perhaps these birds that were talking, these people who were gossiping and talking, they expected you to remain in the darkness. They may have watched you go through the dark phase. They may have seen you down in the abyss. And they thought that they would be able to influence you. Because whatever this was, whether it's a creative endeavor or a hobby or it's something that's very special to you, it could be a relationship, but it's something that they wanted you to leave over in the corner, dried up, forget that it exists. Because whatever this is, it's a part of your destiny. And so they wanted to know. That's why they were researching. 3333. And on that birds card, because that's the gossiping card, there are 3 birds. So there were multiple people checking you out. Look, checking you out like a book. Doing research, trying to see. I'm hearing spying, spying, spying. Trying to see if you were still going to be willing to buy their false narrative, to buy into their false narrative. But I saw that what they're talking about is your star energy. Look. I didn't even mean to pull these up, but do you see this? Crusty. That's how they wanted your dreams. And we had the cactus here. That's how they wanted your dreams. That's how they wanted your creativity. That's how they wanted your love. That's how they wanted every meaningful thing in your life was crusty. Oh, but look at this. 4 of Wands and Page of Cups. You've got celebration, unions, sweetness. Okay? That's what your destiny looks like. And that's exactly what they're observing. Oh, wait, this one came out too. Facade of greatness. And see, The reason why they're so busy watching you is because these people who are so bothered by your true greatness, they're wearing a facade. That's all they can show to the world. And the reason they're doing this is because they have watched you become strong. They have watched you nurture yourself. They've watched you develop into a powerful alchemist, healer, teacher. And they're sitting back faking the funk. All they can do is research you, spy on you, try to see what you're doing, and try to mimic you. It's a facade. I need you to understand this. You are living your true destiny. And what that looks like is a path of beauty and of true greatness. Now, these people who were trying to throw illusions your way and influence you in a negative way, trying to ruin every good thing in your life, are now sitting back watching you in awe, wanting to do the things that they think will impress you. That's why they're putting on a facade. So if they think that you value nurturing a family life, they're going to pretend to do that. If they think that you value being good to someone, they're going to put on a show like they're being good to their family and their lover and their whatever, knowing damn well as soon as they go in their house, they're fighting like cats and dogs, okay? So what's coming through is to remain focused on you, because what you're seeing around you, facades, fakeness, false realities, false narratives, acted out, scripted by the very same people who tried to make your life a crusty mess. They couldn't do it. They see that you're mature. They see that you have divine blessings that you have nurtured. They see your growth. They see your power of transformation. You are the Ankh. You are the key of life. And you are truth. So let them live in their fake world. Let them live in their false reality. And you remain focused on your divine blessings. This was flipped over on this one too. What's this? Four of Cups. They see your strength. And they want to act like you're not what you are. You're not really what you are. And the funny thing about it is they want to be accepted by you, but they still won't want to give you your flowers. Don't even worry about them. So in other words, it feels like a whole bunch of mess around you. Stay focused on you. Remain strong. Okay? Remain strong. What else about this beautiful being in their path, Divine? The Hierophant. Okay, so that's twice now. We've got the Hierophant and the teacher. You're here to teach. So, you know why this is coming through so strong? Is that as a teacher, you have to remain focused on your path, because you are helping others. You are guiding others. And you know, I don't want to be cheesy, but with great power comes great responsibility. And so that's why Divine is bringing through this message that whatever they decide to bring you, these messy beings around you, whether it's putting on a facade to impress you, or whether they're acting like they're snubbing you the next day, you're probably going to see a lot of this. Them wanting to influence you again and have you go their way, them creating illusions to try to fool you, trying to influence you in a negative way, they're going to go in whichever way the wind is blowing. You've got a lot of people around you who don't know who they are. And so they're watching you. They're looking at you to see what you're doing, and they're trying to adjust who they're going to be today based on who they see you being and how they're feeling. Let them watch. Let them talk. You stay focused on your path and purpose, okay? And hopefully they'll figure out what they need to do so they can get their eyes off of you and on what they need to be doing for their lives. But, you know. There's justice and balance that's coming to you. This is facts. Ace of Swords. Okay? So there's a lot of wrongdoing that's been done by people who surround you. But justice is here. And a part of the justice that you're experiencing is your ability to speak truth. Your ability to live in truth. To not have to lie. To not have to live a fake life. This is no longer your reality. If it ever was, maybe if you were very close to these people, sometimes you felt like you were wrapped up in their fakeness. No more. No more. The scales are balanced and will remain that way. And you will continue to live in truth with the Ace of Swords. You will continue to speak truth. And more than likely, they will continue to be uncomfortable with your truth, but also impressed by your growth, your success, and your progress. Listen, they don't get to choose which parts of you are acceptable and lovely and which ones they'd rather influence and get you to change. There's none of that. But I see that that's what they would like with this card. Somebody still wants to change you. I'm getting that they want credit for your transformation. Somebody wants credit for your transformation. And my question is, well, were they there with you in the abyss? When you were in the darkness, at the bottom of the sea, discovering your shadows and loving on yourself when nobody else was there to help you? Were they there? So then they don't get to decide what parts of you remain, because all of you is beautiful. Remember that message came through? Divine said that every single bit of you is beautiful. There is no, we're taking this part, snipping that part. No. All of you. Every bit is beautiful. I just saw ash. That means that you are the rising phoenix. That's your energy. Where you have risen from the ashes and become new again. There we go, right there. You see that? That's what that always means in my readings. I hope you can see it. Yeah. What you've done is phenomenal. And I just looked at the Jupiter poster. You have so much success and good fortune coming to you. That's why somebody, we got a King of Cups here, and a Two of Swords, and a Ten of Cups. There could be somebody who's, well, I'm getting that this King of Cups, that's your intuitive energy. And they want you confused about some sort of family vibe. Somebody wants you confused. Okay, let's get this straight. Let's just break this down. Somebody wants you and your intuitive self as the King of Cups. Deeply intuitive, aware, conscious. They want you in the Two of Swords about who you should let into your group, into your divine family. We just had 4444. See, they're afraid because they know that you're protected and you're intuitive. That's not good for them because they're walking around fake and phony, insecure. This is not you. You will never be on anyone's leash. This is you. Strong, courageous, king or queen of the jungle. Okay? That's you. And you're focused on your soul's purpose. You're focused on your divine work. Thank you, Spirit. All right, let's go to the shaman's dream and see what's coming through for you to close this reading. Thank you, Spirit. What message do you have for this beautiful being? What message do they need? Spirit of the river, movement toward adventure. Well, okay. Isn't that just what we had? Look, we had the anchor card where you went to the abyss and embraced all of yourself, the depths of you, the shadows, everything. We had this, the ship. You're moving forward. And you're not putting anybody in this boat that doesn't deserve to be there, because there's a limited number of spaces. Do you see that? Not everybody can come along. Okay, beautiful being? I need you to value and understand what you've done. This is not the time to be humble. This is the time to say, I'm so proud of what I've done. And I'm so grateful for whatever support you've had along the way. 4646 on the timer. But just realize that a whole lot of people want to be on that boat. A whole lot of people. I'm seeing it with that 10 of cups. And they want you confused as to who's going to be in your 10 of cups. Right here. That was you as the King of Cups. Intuitive. Look at that. They're like, let me come along. Limited number of spots, okay? Spirit of the river. Let's see what's coming through with this message. This is card 50. You might be seeing 5555 change, okay? 50. Okay. Movement toward adventure. Allowing and trusting the current. The spirit of the river invites you to step into the flow, to stop swimming against or avoiding the current. Allow the waters to carry you downstream, away from the eddies and whirlpools. It's time to heed the call of a new adventure waiting for you. Stop working on the problem for a while. The issue is not what it seems. It is your addiction to fixing what has gone bad that is consuming so much of your time. Work to create a greater good, and the bad will resolve itself on its own. See, you've already done so much work. I'm hearing you don't have to work hard anymore. You just have to be dedicated and consistent and show up for yourself. But you don't have to worry. You don't have to be frustrated. Okay? There's a difference between working hard to the point where it's like, you know, tending to become like a workaholic, versus just being consistent and allowing yourself to work and rest within balance, okay? There is nothing that you can accomplish with more quote-unquote efforting, as the situations in your life right now are subject to forces beyond your control. Recognize this, step back, and trust the flow. There is no loss of face or lack of honor or integrity. It is simply the way things are at this moment. When this card appears, it is time to say yes to the next leg of your journey. Remember, you're moving forward with something that you thought you wouldn't. Your life is like a river, inevitably and inexorably flowing to the sea, which is your divine destination. Be fearless and release yourself to the rushing water in the middle of the stream. Whatever it is you are holding on to, the feelings, the thoughts, the beliefs about how things are or how they should or could be, can be fixed easily with the power of the spirit of the river. Simply let go and enjoy the thrill of the ride. All is well. Ashe. Yes. I love that. Thank you, River Spirit. Yes, I honor you. And I honor you, beautiful being. Thank you so much. Oh, we're a minute 50, just like that card. Ashe. Thank you so much for tuning in and for taking the time to view this reading. I hope that it brought you some insight, some support, some clarity, and some good vibes. I love you, and I wish you peace. I wish you joy, and I wish you so many blessings. Take care.